Hey everybody, I'm Kerrigan Veach. I'm from Rogers State University, and today I'm going to be presenting my original research over belongingness and thriving in higher education campus climates. The research question that I will be looking at today is what sections of the comprehensive inventory of thriving are correlated with higher scores on the general belongingness scale. It is hypothesized that students who have higher scores on the sections of mastery and meaning of the comprehensive inventory of thriving will also have higher outcomes on the general belongingness scale. So the desire to belong is a core human characteristic. There is a lack of understanding regarding what kind of implications an individual's sense of belonging can have for a student in a higher education environment, and how this factors into their experience with their respective campus. The research on this topic of belongingness has increased in the recent years, although there is still scant research available on how belongingness may differ as a function of environment or culture, and there is still a lot of research that needs to be done in higher education specifically, as a lot of it has been focused on K through 12 environments due to the creation of the school belongingness scale. So there's been a lot suggested as to what kinds of implications belongingness has for students. In 2006, a team of researchers found that a threatened sense of belongingness could be responsible for barriers to long-term goal accomplishment and hinders self-regulation of socially appropriate behaviors. On the flip side of this, the research suggested that students who have a higher sense of belongingness are more successful in accomplishing their goals. Another team of researchers examined student sense of belongingness and whether it related to their academic performance or how they view the intrinsic or utility value of school. And the results of this study suggested that sense of belongingness in students may fluctuate individually based on their background and their individual environments, specifically related to gender in this case. Thriving as a construct has been looked at more specifically in workplace environments and less so in school environments. Arslan conducted research using the comprehensive inventory of thriving with undergraduate students to establish whether the instrument could be used to accurately display the mental severity of the individuals who take it. And the results of this study determined that the instrument could accurately display positive scoring with participants with more stable mental health symptoms and really replicates or reflects the individual student's psychological well-being accurately through utilizing the comprehensive inventory of thriving. Few studies have looked at thriving and belongingness cohesively in one environment. However, a team of researchers did look at thriving and belongingness in the workplace, and the results of their study did suggest that belongingness and thriving have a positive relationship. Although it was a unique relationship in the sense that belongingness was supported to be a mediating factor between workplace instability and thriving. For this research, the recruitment procedures I used were mainly through social media sources and convenience sampling here at the university that I do attend in Oklahoma. For data collection, research surveys were administered online using Qualtrics through the 2022-2023 academic year. Individuals completed a 10 to 20 minute survey about their climate, filling out the comprehensive inventory of thriving, demographic questions, and the general belongingness scale. And then, of course, confidentiality was kept, and at the end of the survey, participants were given free mental health resources in case they experienced any emotional discomfort. So the comprehensive inventory of thriving as a scale. This measures psychological well-being within individuals using 7 different constructs and 18 subscales. So some more information about that scale is listed here. Each question that was asked in relation to the participants' perception of their campus climate. Here are some examples of the engagement category and the kind of questions that asks. Now, the general belongingness scale measures an individual's achieved sense of belongingness in their environment. This is important to distinguish between belongingness and belonging, as belonging is simply an individual holding the need or desire to belong rather than having actually achieved that sense of belongingness. So this scale utilized 6 statements that measure acceptance and inclusion, and another 6 related to rejection and exclusion. And the general belongingness questions, again, were asked in relation to the participants' perception of their individual and respective campus climate. Here are some examples of the general belongingness scale questions. The top one is an example of an acceptance inclusion question, while the bottom one is an example of a rejection exclusion question. Data was coded using SPSS software, and correlation analyses have been run to examine the relationships and trends between students' thriving outcomes and their sense of belongingness. The subsections of mastery and meaning were analyzed individually, and the data were, of course, kept in locked files with no identifiers. So the correlational analysis revealed a significant positive relationship between the general belongingness scale and the meaning subscale of the CIT, with a p-value of 0.03 and a correlation coefficient of 0.301, indicating significant relationship. Correlational analyses also revealed a similar relationship between the mastery subscale of the comprehensive inventory of thriving and the general belongingness scale, as reflected here. Means and standard deviations for major variables and dimensions are now listed here. One notable thing I would like to point out is that the general belongingness scale results for this population were relatively low. Scored out of 7, the mean was a 4. Here's some information related to the demographics of the participants included in this research. So overall, the main idea concluded from this research study is that higher education environments who provide students with skills that foster a greater sense of mastery and meaning in the work that they're doing provide students with the ability to establish a higher sense of belongingness in their environment within their campus experience. So furthering research related to student belongingness in different learning environments and institutions strengthens the field and research by diversifying the literature. A notable limitation of this study is the sparse amount of participants from various forms of higher education. It has been particularly difficult to obtain participants from vocational and technical schools, although the survey was distributed at 3 institutions. This is primarily due to the fact that a lot of vocational school students are dually enrolled with their high school, and thus they are not 18. So they are not able to complete my survey. For future plans, I would like to expand the participant pool to include more students from both vocational and technical schools as well as community colleges. There were some represented, but not enough for substantial results and to draw valid conclusions. Additionally, I would like to expand the demographic information altogether, hopefully get enough to draw conclusions based off of different cultural groups. Additionally, I would like to evaluate which form of higher education is providing students with the most positive environment and run analyses to determine cross-cultural differences in belongingness and thriving within participants from specific forms of higher education and across all participants. Another demographic I would like to look at is the difference in experiences between contemporary and traditional students. And another future plan I have for this research is to incorporate a mixed methods component within this spring semester and include personal interviews from an individual who attends each form of higher education. Now at this time, I would like to open the floor for any questions you may have for me. Thank you.